and Head of Mechanical Engineering Department. First of all, I thank all the participants for the interest you have shown at this AICT-sponsored short-term training program. I assure that we will have very fruitful sessions ahead. We have experts in outcome-based education from all over India sharing their knowledge during these 6 days of training program. The inaugural session of the program will be at 11:15 a.m. today, where the NBA member secretary will be inaugurating the program, will be delivering the inaugural address from his Delhi office. Participants, please ensure your presence during the inaugural session. The short-term training program is the third phase of the series of 3 short-term training programs on outcome-based education sponsored by the All India Council for Technical Education and organized by Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. Our principal, Professor Dr. Spady, an outcome-based education expert and who has been a member of the accreditation team on several occasions, has been the guiding force behind us in organizing these training programs on outcome-based education. Today's first session is by Professor Dr. Spady on Introduction to the Outcome-Based Education. Dr. P.S. Spady has completed his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Kerala University, M.Tech from IIT Kanpur, and PhD from IIT Madras, and has done postdoc fellowship from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. He has produced 10 PhDs, currently 6 ongoing PhDs. Before joining Rajagiri as principal, he has held several positions national and international level and has bagged several awards in academics. To name a few, Professor Spady has been the principal professor and also a certificate member of Cochin University of Science and Technology. He has been the director of Institution of Human Resource Development, Kerala. Professor Spady has been visiting faculty in several foreign universities, including Queensland University, Australia, King Khalid University, Saudi Arabia, and Multimedia University, Malaysia. He has 39 international journal papers to his credit and 52 international and conference papers. He has been awarded the Excellence Award by Friendship Forum and Rashtriya Research Award by Sri Krishnamurthy. Sir, I welcome you for the introduction on outcome-based education.
Okay, good morning all. Thank you, Dr. Manoj Therian, Head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, for a good introduction about me. And I welcome all the participants to the shortened program as the principal of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, and I hope I am audible to you all. My topic is Introduction to Outcome-Based Education, and I hope most of you participating in this webinar will be knowing about outcome-based education. And first of all, if we go to the history of technical education in the country, the All India Council for Technical Education was established, as you will be knowing, in 1945 as an advisory body for technical education in the country. Later, in 1989, ASCT became a mandatory body for the formulation, planning, approval of technical education in the country. And the engineering education in the country started from 1947 onwards. And the first institute established has been at Roorkee. It has been called the Thomson Institute. And later it became a civil engineering institute. And now it has got converted to that of IIT Roorkee. Similarly, there has been several institutes which has been established. Another one is the Bengal Engineering College, which has been established in Shibupur, and now it has become Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology. And in 1911, the Indian Institute of Science was established by Jamshedji Tata, and now also it is called Tata Institute. The first IIT, the premier institutes, came into existence in 1958, that is 1951, it is Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Then IIT Bombay was established in 1958, IIT Kanpur in 1959, and the same year this IIT Madras has been established, and IIT Delhi in 1961. And now we know that there are a large number of around 24 IITs in the country, and almost all the states and union territories have got the National Institute of Technology, another premier institution in the country. Other than that, there are a large number of other types of institutions which has been established both in the central government as well as the state government sector as well as in the private sector for engineering education in the country. That means now we have got more than around say 4,500 engineering institutes in the country. And the teaching learning experiences in these institutions were quite different for a long time. And once the National Board of Accreditation came into existence, they are trying to bring a standardization into that of the technical education in the country by means of establishing the outcome-based education in the country. And you will be knowing about this Washington Accord. And the Washington Accord has originally been signed in 1989. Between at that time, there has been only 6 signatory countries were there in order to standardize and also to bring quality in technical education or in engineering education. As a result of which, the accreditation bodies were established in those countries. And by means of this Washington Accord, the signatory countries, any person can practice who has got the required qualification will be able to practice in the signatory countries, and thereby there will be mobility of professional engineers from one country to that of another signatory countries. And the main goal, working together to achieve benchmarking and mobility in engineering profession. To achieve benchmarking means to achieve a certain quality in engineering profession, as well as there will be mobility. That means people will be able to move, who are qualified in engineering will be able to move from one place to that of one country to that of another country. That is the main goal. And the accord recommends that the programs accredited by any of the signatory bodies are recognized by the other signatory countries. And it is an understanding that the recognition means they will be meeting the academic requirements for entry to practice of engineering in the area of their jurisdiction. That means the people who are qualified or accredited can move from one place to that of another place, one country to that of another country. Again, it repeats the slide. According to the Washington Accord, which will be enabling the facility and mobility of graduates and professionals at international level. What it means is that a student graduating from an institute is eligible to practice as an engineer in his relevant domain in any of the countries that have signed the Washington Accord. As of now, there are 24 countries, permanent signatories in the Washington Accord, and there are 4 or 5 countries who are the temporary members in that accord. And gradually, they also will become permanent signatories in the country. The people, the accredited, the students coming from that of the accredited institutions will be able to practice engineering in their signatory countries without any further examination or any further standardization. So that is the main advantage of Washington Accord. India's induction in the Washington Accord has taken place, as everybody will be knowing, in June 13, 2014. And it does not immediately guarantee this mobility applicable to all engineering graduates. It is only applicable to graduates in the institutions that are re-accredited by NBA, and the graduate must have completed the program after the date of acquiring the signatory status. That is in 13th June 2014. Moreover, the institute should be re-accredited by NBA after 13th of June 2014 as per the Washington. These are the conditions for the Washington Accord as far as India is concerned. Then originally signed in 1989, these are the countries which has already signed the signatory bodies in 1989, namely Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, United Kingdom and United States. All these countries initially are the English-speaking countries have signed the Washington Accord. And of course, it is a non-governmental agreement. It is an agreement between these 6 countries, and it includes monitoring and verification of the accreditation system during every 6 years, development of pathways for admission, business meetings of signatories every 2 years. Full signatory status requires unanimous agreement between these signatory countries. And there is another organization which is called International Engineering Alliance, which is called in short form IEA. It's an umbrella for organization of signatory bodies and agreements which establish and encourage their members for internationally benchmarking standards for engineering education and what is termed as entry-level competence to practice engineering. Other than that of Washington Accords, there has been a large number of accords which can be called as Washington Accord is in engineering, Sydney Accord is engineering technician, Dublin Accord, then APC engineer agreements for Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, then Engineers Mobility Forum for Professional Engineers Register, and Engineering Technologist Forum. So these are the 6 bodies which will be coming under International Engineering Alliance. Then post-June 1989, post-June 1989 means India got a permanent status. No, this is after this Washington Accord. The new permanent signatories in the Washington Accord are National Board of Accreditation in India, the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, then China Association for Science and Technology for People's Republic of China, Pakistan Engineering Council, then Philippines, Peru, and Costa Rica. So as far as this accreditation is concerned, NBA accreditation is concerned, there are two types of accreditations. One is Tier 1 accreditation and the other one is Tier 2 accreditation. The Tier 1 accreditation is for universities and autonomous institutions, whereas Tier 2 accommodation is Tier 2 accreditation is for other types of institutions that we will come across shortly. And these are the countries now which will be coming under this Washington Accord, that is Australia, and each of this accrediting body is called by a different name in different countries. For example, in Australia it is called Engineers Australia, and Canada again it is called Engineers Canada. Then in China it is called the China Association for Science and Technology. Then Hong Kong, in India it is called the National Board of Accreditation. Whereas in Ireland it is Engineers Ireland. And likewise, the name of the accreditation body in each of the countries will be varied. Then Pakistan, in Pakistan Engineering Council. And then Turkey, United Kingdom, and United States it is called ABET, Accreditation Body for Engineering and Technology. These are the organizations which are holding provisional status. That is, in Bangladesh, it is Board of Accreditation for Engineering and Technical Education. Mexico, Chile, Myanmar, Thailand, and Indonesia, these countries are having a temporary status now, or it can be called as provisional status. Then these are the education and training in the formation of a practicing engineer. The first one will be to meet standard of engineering education. There are certain standards which has been set apart by the accreditation bodies. That means in an accredited program, there is certain quality or certain standards are there which has to be met. Then once this is met, then meet standards for professional competency. There can be a training and experience. Thereby they will be meeting the standards for professional competency. And finally, one will be able to practice. That means observe a code of conduct and maintain competence as far as the respective country is concerned. So these are the steps involved for practicing engineering profession now. Then we go to these graduate attributes. The graduate attributes adopted by the Washington Accord signatories are generic to the education of professional engineers. That means it is almost same in the different countries or in the signatory countries. That means even one will be able to transfer the credits from one country to that of another country. Their categories what graduates, engineers should know, the skills they should demonstrate and the attitudes they should possess. Engineering, there is no need to explain, everybody will be knowing. It is a skill-based profession. So people has to achieve that of the skill and there should be some attitudes also. These qualities has been set by means of this accreditation in the different programs. Then these are the Washington, there are 12 elements in the graduate attributes, which are this engineering knowledge, then problem analysis, design and development of solutions, investigation, modern tool usage, the engineer and the society, environmental and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, lifelong learning. These are the skills which one should develop once they come out of an institution or once they pass an engineering degree. So this is supported by a knowledge profile. A knowledge profile will be from subsections which will be starting from WK1 to WK8. And there is a level of problem solving also is there, which will start from WP1 to WP4. These are the different knowledge levels. WK1 will be a systematic theory-based understanding. You can just read through that of the slides. WK2 will be conceptually based mathematics, numerical analysis, statistics, and formal aspects of computer and information science to support analysis and modeling applicable to the discipline. WK3 will be a systematic theory-based formulation of engineering fundamentals required in each engineering discipline. WK4 will be engineering specialist knowledge that provides theoretical frameworks and bodies of knowledge for the accepted practice areas in the engineering discipline. Much is at the forefront of the discipline. And WK5, knowledge that supports engineering design in a practice area. WK6, knowledge of engineering practice or technology in the practice areas in the engineering discipline. WK7, comprehension of the role of engineering in society and identified issues in engineering practice in the discipline. Ethics and the professional responsibility of an engineer to public safety and the impacts of engineering activity. Economic, social, cultural, environmental, and sustainability. And WK8 will be in the engagements with the selected knowledge in the research literature of the discipline. Then WP1, which will be coming, cannot be resolved without in-depth engineering knowledge at the level of WK3, WK4, WK5, WK6, WK8. That means these are dependent on each other. The range of conflicting requirements in WP2 involve wide-ranging or conflicting technical engineering and other issues. Depth of analysis required is WP3. Then familiarity of issues, WP4. Extent of applicable codes, that is in WP5. Then WP6 involve diverse group of stakeholders with widely varying needs. And interdependence, WP7, that is high-level problems, including many component parts or sub-problems. This as an example for these attributes I have taken in the case of University of Texas. There are 12 attributes. One is engineering knowledge, that is, they have explained it as knowledge and ability to apply engineering and science fundamentals to real problems. Then problem analysis means ability to formulate and solve open-ended solution problems. Design for development of solutions, ability to design mechanical components, systems, and processes. Investigation means ability to set up and conduct experiments and to present the results in a professional manner. Then modern tool usage, ability to use modern computer tools in mechanical engineering, and this is concerned with mechanical engineering. Then the engineer and the society, an appreciation of history, philosophy, literature, science, and finance, and how they influence the culture and behavior of societies. As far as environment and sustainability is concerned, awareness of contemporary issues in engineering practice, including economic, social, political, environmental issues, and global impact. Then ethics, awareness of professional issues in engineering practice, including ethical responsibility, safety, loyalty, and commitment to the profession, individual and teamwork, ability to work in teams, and apply interpersonal skills in engineering context. Communication, ability to communicate in written, oral, and graphical forms. Then project management and finance, the ability to practice engineering in a global environment. Lifelong learning, ability and desire to lay a foundation for continued learning beyond the bachelor's degree. These graduate attributes will be forming a set of individually assembled outcomes that are the components indicative of the graduate's potential to acquire competence at the appropriate level. Are exemplars of the attributes expected of graduate from an accredited program are clear, specific, succinct means specific, and brief statements of the expected capability qualified if necessary by a range of indication appropriate to the type of the program. And the graduate's attributes are intended to assist signatories and professional members to develop outcome-based accreditation criteria for use by their respective jurisdictions. Also, again, bodies developing their accreditation systems with a view to seeking signatory status are defined for education qualifications in the engineering technologist, and engineering technician ranks. Then we come to that of the outcome-based education. That is, William Spady can be called as the father of the outcome-based education. And the outcome-based education is referred by different names in different countries. One name is systematic education restructuring, then performance-based education, standard-based education reform, high-performance learning, transformational education, competency-based education, etc. So even though now the generalized term is outcome-based education, but in different countries, they will be known in different names. Hobbies principles according to Spady 1994, clarity of focus. That means there should be a clear focusing on everything the teacher does so that the students will be able to know, understand, and do things. This means that the teachers will be helping the students to attain knowledge, skills, attributes, attitudes which will enable the students to achieve the intended outcomes articulated. So that means every program or every subject will be having a clarity on focus should be there, or a definite aim should be there. If a person or if a students complete a certain program, what will the student will be acquiring. It is not what the teacher teaches, but what the students will be acquiring is important. So that is clarity of focus should be there in every subject which is being taught. Then the next one is expanded opportunity. Teachers should be in a position to expand the opportunities for the students by considering the fact that the students will learn the same thing in different ways and at different times, but they will achieve high standards if they are given the right opportunities. So that means in the present system of education, everybody is given that of the same thing, irrespective of their grasping attitudes. But now, in outcome-based education, it is not like that. It is different. Each student will be able to study on his own by taking her own time. But they will be able to achieve high standards at the right opportunity. Then high expectations. The teachers should establish challenging standards of performance in order to enable the students to get deeply involved in what they are learning. To achieve the students to attain high standards is linked with the fact that successful learning promotes more successful learning. It is not like some of the people will be failing in the subject and some of the students will pass in the first instance. It is not like that. In outcome-based education, everybody should be in a position to achieve the standards which is intended by that of the learning. And if successful learning, by means of successful learning, it is having a motto that successful learning promotes more successful learning, or else we can say that it will be some sort of lifelong learning. Then design down. The curriculum design should start with the clear definition of the intended outcomes, which the students will be able to achieve at the end of the program. That is what all syllabus which we are putting into it. There should be a clear-cut idea about what the students will be achieving after completion of this program. Once the outcomes are finalized, then everything the teacher will do will be directed towards achieving. There can be different methods by means of achieving that of the goal or that of the target. So once the goal is set or the outcomes are finalized, then what all things which the teacher does should be directed towards achieving that goal or outcome. Then according to Spady, outcome-based education is dependent on the following three assumptions. That means all the students can learn and succeed not on the same day and in the same way. That they taught the capabilities of the students may be different. So it may not be possible as of the present examination system. All this, the syllabus will be covered at a particular instant of time, and all the students, irrespective of whether they have learned the subject or not, they have to appear for an examination. But in outcome-based education, it is not like that. It is different. The students can learn and succeed, not at the same day and in the same day. Different people will be having different grasping powers, and the approach of the students will be in different ways. So they will be able to approach the problem in different ways, as a result of which they will be able to succeed, but not on the same day. Then successful learning promotes even more successful learning. If you learn something, then there will be, again, it can lead to that of more successful learning. There is a tendency to know more things. If one becomes successful, then again, the learning continues. It is a continuous process. Schools directly control the conditions that directly affect successful school learning. The schools should be having the freedom. Schools means the institutions. The institutions should have the freedom to define their own curriculum so that they will be able to provide successful learning environments to that of the students. So these are the three assumptions under which outcome-based education has been evolved by William Spady. Then change methods of assessment. If you want to change the student learning, then change the methods of assessment. The assessment is also an important rule as far as learning is concerned. So that means nowadays what is done is that the memory power of the student is being tested. But it should not be like that. If you want to change the student learning, then we have to change the different assessment methods. Then change methods of assessment. This differs from the traditional content or competency-based learning in the sense that those types of learning were mainly content or skills-driven and teacher and trainer-centered. Whereas in outcome-based learning is a learner-driven and aimed at achieving outcomes. So this slide shows the difference between the present system of learning. The present system can be termed as rote learning, ROTE. Rote learning in the sense means the teacher is at the center. The teacher will be teaching what he or she wants. And the students have to study what the teacher teaches. And whereas in the case of outcome-based learning, it is a learning process, teaching and learning process. It's a learner-driven. It is a student-driven. It can be called as a student-driven, not teacher-centered. And there are certain, as I told earlier, there are certain outcomes for each of the programs, and the learning is directed towards achieving such outcomes. The role of a lecturer. The lecturer becomes more of a facilitator of learning by stimulating creativity, self-learning, and critical thinking. So these are the attributes which has to be developed in a student by means of outcome-based learning process. The teacher becomes simply a facilitator. That means a lot of knowledge will be there in different places. As an example, nowadays it can be told that there is not that much importance to that of a teacher because of the fact that a lot of knowledge is available at many places. So the students will be able to get the knowledge from different places. So now the role of the teacher or the lecturer has changed to a facilitator, and also the teacher should help students by stimulating creativity, self-learning, as well as critical thinking. Then outcomes becomes more important to the lecturer than the written syllabus. There need not be a written syllabus. And if there is a syllabus or if there is a program, then it should be outcome-based only. What should be the outcome, or once the student complete that of the program? That is more important. Then assessment of outcome-based learning, the old approach. The old approach means the present approach, which are existing in our country. The learners are not active learners, passive learners. In the sense means there is a definite curriculum or a definite syllabus is there. The syllabus has to be completed within a stipulated time. And there will be examinations will be there at the end of each semester, in the semester examination. The students usually studies only for the examination. That is what is called exam driven. The teaching as well as the learning process is exam driven. Then rote learning. Rote learning means it is simply by learning by remembering the things. There is no understanding in such type of learning. You repeat or by heart that of the things and produce it on the answer book. So such type of learning is called rote learning. Then syllabus is content based and broken down into subjects. We have got a syllabus which will be having a large number of modules, 4 or 5 modules, etc. in engineering education. It is a content based thing, and the idea of each of the content, there will be specifically mentioned in the syllabus that each of the content has to be covered in a certain period of time. That is what is called, it is broken down into that of the subjects. There will be 40 to 45 teaching hours for each of the subjects. For each hour, the subject is broken up, and the teacher has to cover each subject, whether the students will be learning or not. Then textbook bound and teacher centered. Of course, the syllabus is written. There will be textbooks also will be provided in the syllabus. The students has to refer such books, or such syllabus will be found in these books. And it is teacher centered. The teacher will be teaching that of the subject. What all things the teacher needs or the teacher wants will be taught at that particular class. Syllabus is rigid and non-negotiable. There will be a definite syllabus which will be provided by the universities, especially now we have got an affiliating system of education in which the universities will be prescribing that of the syllabus. We may not be able to go beyond that of the syllabus. If you go beyond that syllabus, what happens is that the time will be lost, and one may not be able to finish that of the portions which are mentioned in the syllabus, and the examination will be based on that of the complete syllabus. And it is non-negotiable. We may not be able to negotiate, and thereby one may not be able to change that of the syllabus. Even especially in the case of a university system, the syllabus is revised. In good universities, the syllabus will be revised in once in 3 years, whereas in other universities, it will be sometimes revised in 5 years or so. That means, as far as technical education is concerned, the technical education is advancing day by day. So one will be studying, as far as the syllabus, one will be studying sometimes the obsolete things. That means already it has come and gone. So that is the advantage. But the advantage with the premier institutions like the IITs is that, or autonomous institutions is that, they will be able to change the syllabus and they will be able to teach the students the latest technologies. Then the assessment of outcome-based education. In the old approach, teachers are responsible for learning. How many students have passed in that particular subject? It is the duty of the teacher. If the number of passed students is less, then the teacher has to explain why such number of students, more number of students are failed. That means, in the old approach, the teachers are fully responsible for learning. Then motivation depended on personality of the teacher. So that means some of the teachers will be motivating that of the students, good in motivating, and or good in taking that of the classes, whereas some of the students may not be that much good. So the interest for a subject is created by means of that particular teacher, which can be called as the motivation of the student for studying that of the subject. It varies from one teacher to another teacher according to their personalities. Emphasis on what the teacher hopes to achieve. There will be certain things which the teacher wants to achieve. That means the teacher hopes to achieve means the maximum number of students should pass in that particular subject. So his or her teaching will be directed towards in order to pass the maximum number of students. It is not that the students should learn that of the subject, but he should pass in that particular examination and get good marks. Content placed into rigid time frames. As I told, there has been content. The whole syllabus will be broken down into modules, and for each of the modules or each of the subject cuts, there will be a particular time which has been set up, which has to be covered in 1 or 2 hours or likewise. There will be tight time frames will be there. Then curriculum development process not open to public comments. The curriculum development, as everybody knows, the curriculum development process is done by some small set of people. So there will not be it is not open to the general public or to all the stakeholders. So that means the process is not open to that of the public comments or that of all the stakeholders. In the new approach, there has been a lot of differences. They are active learners. That means the students themselves will be learning, since the teacher will be a facilitator. What will be the goal? The teacher will be able to specify. And to achieving that goal, the students will have to move through that of the learning style. The learners are assessed on and ongoing basis. So that means continuously, the students are being assessed, not at the end of the semester by means of an end semester examination. It is not like that. Continuously, the learners are being assessed, whether he or she will be able to achieve this one. If it is not like that, then he has again to go back to that of the fundamentals. Likewise, the students are assessed on a continuous basis. Critical thinking, reasoning, reflection, and action. Since the teacher will be a facilitator, the students have to solve their own problems by means of developing this critical thinking and reasoning habits, reflection, and action. An integration of knowledge, learning relevant, and connected to real life situations. So that is a type of learning which will be connected. Engineering, of course, is real life situations, problems in solving of problems in real life situations. So especially in an engineering education, it should be an integration of knowledge and learning relevant and connected to real life situations. It is not about learning obsolete things. The learner centered, not teacher centered. The system is learner centered. Lecturer is a facilitator. Lecturer constantly uses group work and teamwork. So there has to be some sort of projects which are given to that of the students, and the projects have to be completed by means of a group, and there should be some team also should be involved. The team can be from different parts of the country or different outside the country also, but the group belongs to that of the same class, etc. Then curricula seen as guides that allow lecturers to be innovative and creative. Knowledge should be everything, every project which should be done by students should have some innovative ideas, and they should bring the creativity of the students. So the curricula should be seen as guides that allow lecturers to be innovative and creative. Learners take responsibility for further learning. It is not the duty of the teacher to teach them, but the learners have their own responsibility for their own learning. Pupils has to be motivated by constant feedback and affirmation. There has to be a system so that the pupils or the students have to be motivated to become lifelong learners by means of providing them with the constant feedback and affirmation. Affirmation in the sense means they should be affirmed that they are good in this work. They will be able to complete the projects likewise. Then emphasis on outcomes, what the learner becomes and understands is more important. Flexible time frames allow learners to work at their own pace. Again, the students will not be having the same capability, same IQ, same grasping powers, etc. So that means the time frame allocated for students has to be different. It is not like at the end of say 75 working days or at the end of 4 months there will be an examination. So it should be the examination timing, etc. It is a type of continuous assessment. The students are not only assessed by means of an end semester examination. So they should be provided with the flexible time frames. Then comment and input from the wider community is encouraged. Not only that of the teacher, there can be some project presentation in the sense, so there will be people from outside also will be there. Thereby they will be able to comment on the work put, and more ideas one will be getting, or the group will be getting more ideas how to proceed, and thereby they can get encouraged. Then outcomes will be assessed in different ways and is an ongoing process. The outcome can be assessed in different ways. In the sense means it is not like an end semester or examinations or some assignments, and it is on each class for each time. It's a continuous assessment process will be going on. That means the assessment is an integral part of the whole system. Always the students has to be assessed, and it is a continuous or an ongoing process. The students will not get marked just for remembering the subject content. That is what is happening now. That is remembering. The examinations are for measuring the remembering capability of the student. So in outcome-based education, it is not for remembering alone. The different aspects of the learner's abilities such as creativity, critical thinking will also be assessed. So all the aspects of the learners or what all abilities the learners have achieved will be assessed in outcome-based education. Then critical cross-field outcomes, students should be able to demonstrate their ability to communicate effectively. That is very much important since engineering is a team activity. One person may not be able to do solely. So that means the team members will be people from all over the world. So one should be able to communicate. That means there should be good language skills and written presentation for the members of the team or for the students. So steps may be taken to improve the communication skills of the students. Then identify and solve problems by using creative and critical thinking. Creativity as well as critical thinking ability has to be developed by means of assigning, say, different problems, projects, etc. to that of the students, so that gradually their powers has to be developed. Creativity and critical thinking capabilities have to be developed. Organize and manage themselves and their activities responsibly and effectively. So if a project or outcome-based education system is given to that of the students, they have to organize and manage themselves. It is not like simply covering that of the syllabus, but in a project, studying by means of projects, etc., they have to organize and they have to manage themselves in order that the project should be successful. Then reflection. To what extent does your institution help students to communicate effectively by developing their language and written skills? This few people will be able to, as teachers, one will be able to think about. So what is the extent to which your institution will be helping the students to develop their communication skills and also written as well as talking skills? To what extent does your institution help the students to think critically and to solve problems? It is not like textbook teaching. So how you will be helping the students to think critically? You give that of the assignments to not to that of the whole class, to certain groups. It should vary from group to group so that the people in that will think critically to solve such problems rather than copy. Then essential outcomes. Use technology effectively and critically, showing responsibility towards the environment and the health of others. That is very important as well as nowadays. Environmental sustainability is very much important, and people should be responsible towards that of the environment and all the health of others. Understand that the world is a set of related systems. Problem solving do not exist in isolation. That one person or one group sometimes or one country or one village may not be able to solve that of the problems. It is a group activity involving all the persons sometimes. For example, for solving that of the present situation, this coronavirus issue, it is a problem not to which one will be able to solve in isolation. All the countries are trying. So likewise, all the programs or the projects, one may not be able to solve solely. It's a group activity. Then show awareness of the importance of the effective learning strategies, responsible citizenship, cultural sensitivity, entrepreneurial abilities. These are some of the things which people have to develop or the students have to develop. Learning strategies. How to learn. Learning strategies may be different for different programs maybe or different even for different problems. Then one should be a responsible citizen. There should be certain rules and regulations which will be imposed by each different countries, and the people have to follow and thereby become responsible citizens. Then each one's culture may be different. So cultural sensitivity is highly important. Then entrepreneurial abilities also should be there. One should be able to start their own things. Entrepreneur. One can become an entrepreneur. Then outcomes-based education is a flexible, empowerment-oriented approach to that of the learning. From what all things which you will be knowing, it's a flexible empowerment. Then it aims at equipping learners with the knowledge, competence, and orientation needed for success in their future professions. Success in the future profession means, as everybody will be knowing, that some of the jobs have vanished, and as the technology advances, we can see that there will be new set of jobs which will be coming, and the older jobs or the existing jobs will not be no more. So that means people or the students should be equipped for getting that of the new jobs or for learning new things. That is again what is called as lifelong learners. So outcome-based education trains that of the students to acquire the knowledge, competence, and orientation needed for their future jobs. And the future jobs will be different from that of the existing jobs. OBE will need changes. Aspects such as teaching and learning models, even timetabling will have to be adopted to optimize learning and ensure the development of effective learning institutions. So now we have got a fixed timetable and other things. So it has to be changed and adapted to that of the needs of the students. The benefits for the students of outcome-based education: students actively involved with a curriculum that is relevant and learner-centered will blossom. Relevant in the sense means it is actually needed for the time. So such a syllabus will be there or curriculum will be there, and it is learner-centered, not teacher-centered. Students will have greater self-esteem because they will be allowed to develop at their own pace. So they will be getting confidence. The students will be getting confidence by means of this outcome-based education. So they will be thinking that they will be able to solve the problems at their own pace. Learners will be trained to work effectively in groups. So that is again another advantage. It is a group work. Engineering, of course, is a group work, and outcome-based education also can be a group work. So they will be able to work as groups, not in isolation. Then students will become analytical and creative thinkers, problem solvers, and effective communicators. They will know how to collect, gather, and organize information and conduct research. They will be more aware of their responsibilities, the environments, and the people around them. By means of this outcome-based education, the students will be able to achieve and they will be able to do good research. Good research means they will be able to get or try with new knowledge. An institution which will not be producing new knowledge will not be having an existence. That also we have to remember at this point of time. Then the role of lecturers. OBE requires lecturers to focus on the outcomes of education rather than merely teaching information. Now what we are doing, we are merely teaching or completing that of the syllabus. It is not like that. We should know what will be the outcome. The lecturer will plan all activities around these outcomes. Once the outcomes are described, now the next all activities of the lecturers will be towards achieving that outcome. Then assessment will be an ongoing process. Always it will be a continuous process. OBE encourages lecturers to translate the curriculum into something achievable. There must be a shift away from content-based programs. By means of the outcome-based education, there should be something that will be achievable. It is not like simply learning some formulas which one student will be forgetting during that of the next semester. It should be that the student should achieve something. In OBE, lecturers are encouraged to find ways of providing conditions of success in the classroom. A positive learning environment is essential. Then teaching will become a far more creative and innovative career. That is the advantage of outcome-based education. It will give more pleasure to that of the teacher as well as that of the students. Lecturers will no longer feel the pressure of having to be the source of all knowledge. Now the lecturer is the source of all knowledge by taking that of a class. So they will be, to some extent, they will be stressed. By means of this outcome-based education, they will not be feeling that pressure. We will ultimately help to transform our continent into one which we all want to live by producing thinking and caring students. So if one student nowadays, if he fails, he will be losing his confidence. Whereas in outcome-based education, it is not like that. Everybody will be having good confidence because it has got flexible time frame. Then effective educational loans. In the process of writing and evaluating outcomes, we would not only look towards cognitive educational goals, that is cognitive educational knowledge goals means it is simply knowledge and understanding, and psychomotor educational goals, it is skill development, but also to affective education goals. It is not only the psychomotor as well as cognitive education goals, affective goals also should be there in any education system. That is attitudes and values. While we are living in a society, and if we are living in a society means we should develop certain attitudes and there are certain values. That also has to be developed through education system. So these are some examples of affective education goals. The affective education goal grows out of the systems, institutions, vision and mission, value system and educational purpose. The vision and mission, our institution will be having a vision of a holistic development. It is not only study, but it is a holistic development as a good human. So that will be the vision. Each of the institutions will be having its own vision and mission. Typically, one can then expect outcomes like the student demonstrates love for his country. Might include as an affective goal, the student demonstrates loyalty to the country. So these also can be included. Then assessments. In traditional school system, the students were given grades or marks related to each other. We also know nowadays, even in our university and many of the universities existing in the country, grades are given to that of the students depending on their knowledge or depending upon their performance in the examination. The students were presented with knowledge and skills of the old generation. Content and performance expectations were based on what was taught in the past to the students of same age. Schools presented an opportunity to learn whether the student has learned or not is not measured. So that is the limitation of the present system. We will be completing that of the syllabus within a prescribed period of time, and we are not noticing whether the student, it is not our job to notice whether the student has learned or not learned. So that is not at all being measured. Only the measurement takes out at the end of the semester by means of end semester examination, during which some of the students will pass and some of the students will get good grades and some of the students will fail, etc. can happen. The student performance will be showing that of a wide range, and the good students are provided with the good grades, weak students with the lower grades, and the failure of some students are expected as natural. The test will not give a criterion-based judgment. Rather, it will be relative since the same types of questions are given to all the students. In OBE, teachers can use any objective grading system, including letter grades. In graduate studies for advancements and retention in a fully developed OBE system, instead of giving a single overall grade for a subject, should give information about other specific outcomes within that of the subject. So the subject can be divided into certain levels, and then the grades can be given to those levels rather than giving to that of a complete subject. What is now existing? As an example, in physics subjects, rather than giving a passing grade, a student might be assessed as a level 1 for if he knows that of the fundamental concepts, that can be called as level 1. Then he will go into that of the level 2 for problem solving if he has completed that of the level 1. Then level 3 for measurement skills, level 4 for experimentation, and so on. We will be able to describe different levels. This approach will be valuable for the school and parents for specifically identifying a student's strengths and weaknesses, by means of which we will be able to identify the student is having strength in which all areas and what will be his weaknesses, and thereby he will be able to come over those weaknesses. That means it is divided into different levels. Level 1 as shown over here. For fundamental concepts, it can be called as level 1. Level 2 for problem solving. So this can be the method of assessment rather than giving that of a single grade. Then there can be another approach where students can be given different levels. That means this level can be from 1 to 8. Where for each course, 1 can be the foundation level. When the teacher feels that the student has acquired sufficient material, then he can be awarded to that of the next level. So that is another type of approach. The subjects or the program can be divided into that of the different levels, 1 to 8. 1 to 8 or any number. If the student passes the first level, then he will be allowed to go to that of the next level like this. The student, if failed to reach the next level, he has to review the current material and thereby will not achieve the next level at the same time as that of the other students. That means every student will be passing, but not at the same time, but at different times. This promotes differential growth at different stages, and the teacher will be able to know the requirements of the students. The students will be at different levels, and here what happens is that the teacher will be knowing how each of the performance of each of the students, and thereby the teacher will be able to provide the required input to each of the students. Some characteristics of institutions of excellence. What do exemplary colleges do right? One study identifies 4 key features as sources of faculty morale and satisfaction. They had all distinctive organizational cultures that were carefully articulated, nurtured, and sustained. So these are some of the good things about good excellent colleges. So they had distinctive organizational cultures. Each of the institutions will be having its own culture. That culture will be developed during the development of that institution. And these cultures were carefully articulated, carefully nurtured, and they will be carefully sustained. They had strong participatory leadership which provided direction and purpose. On those institutions, those excellent or institutions will be having a good leadership, and this leadership should be in a position to provide good direction, and there should be a purpose. They had a firm sense of organizational momentum. They were the institutions on the move. The faculty of these institutions had an unusually compelling identification with the institution. That means the faculty will be having an unusually compelling identification. That means they love their institutions. So these are some of the characteristics of institutions of excellence. The cultures of these colleges included a commitment to that of the students. Student commitment is there for the teachers. So that is one of the culture which the institutions has to develop. The teachers should be committed to that of the students, as in most of our premier institutions like the IITs. The students, there will not be a system of attendance marking in such premier institutions, because the teachers will be take their own classes, and that means there is good commitment to the teachers, to the students, as well as the students to the teachers. These colleges had strong leadership but flat hierarchy. There will not be any hierarchy as far as these colleges are concerned. The hierarchy is flat, but there will be a strong leadership. A strong leader can be there. Again, if we go back to that of the premier institutions, the director will be there, who will be the leader of that institution, and all the professors will be of the institution will be senate members. So that means the hierarchy is flat over there. Then higher ups, namely the president and dean in some of the universities or institutions of these institutions, knew how to empower the faculty. The faculty has to be empowered. Information was shared through frequent meetings. There can be frequent meetings between that of the president or the dean of the university and the faculty members, so that the information is passed, as well as if there is any problem with that of the faculty members, they can also talk with that of the higher ups of the institution. Then some characteristics of institutions again. The administration-faculty relationship were characterized by features such as there should be some sort of features should exist between that of the administration and the faculty, such as mutual trust should be there. Then openness, fairness in giving promotions, etc. we can say. Then caring, the management should care its faculty members. Then atmosphere should be truthful. A truthful atmosphere should exist. Then lack of antagonism. Antagonism means lack of, say, some sort of opposition. Opposition should not be there. Then concern of the institute, both the faculty as well as that of the management. And the faculty members should be responsibility also should be there, and they should have accessibility. So these are some of the values upon which the institutions of excellence depends upon. These institutions have committed faculty development programs. That is another thing as far as these institutions are concerned, that is institutions of excellence. They will be having faculty development programs once in a year, that depends. The satisfaction of the faculty, in fact, the excitement of the faculty about their work is critical to the attainment of academic. The faculty always should be excited to their work. Once they have got the excitements, then only they will be able to attain that of the academic goals. For the excitement of the faculty means the management should encourage that of the faculty in achieving their goals. Then these are the characteristics of high moral institutions, that is greater involvement of faculty in decision making. As I taught, all the faculty members, all the professors in the premier institutions are in the decision-taking body like Senate. There is a greater involvement of the faculty in the decision-making, not the decisions are implemented from the lower level itself. Then environment supporting of faculty and their work. It should have an environment which will support that of the faculty. Then collaborative environment. Encouragement of risk-taking. Faculty members have to take certain risk, so they should be encouraged. Anticipatory long-range planning. Then administration and faculty have similar views about the academic workplace. That is again important. Both the administration and faculty should go hand in hand. The OBE motto is all the students can learn and succeed not on the same day and not on the same way. That means the teaching as well as the learning process is quite flexible. All the students are not measured by means of an semester examination, but there will not be any failures. All the students will succeed, but this success will not be on the same day and not on the same way. Some positive ones. Lastly, I like to show you some positive consequences of accreditation system in India. There are different types of accreditation bodies now in India, as you know. For the programs, for the engineering programs or the technical institutes, we have got the National Board of Accreditation, which has been came into existence, I think, in 2012 or something. And for the accreditation of the complete institutions, we have got the SNAC, National Accreditation and Assessment Council, etc. And the intention of all these accreditation bodies are to bring some quality in this technical education. So by means of this bringing out quality in technical education, or by means of this existence of these two bodies, every technical and higher technical education institution has begun to appreciate the need to incorporate quality in its academic activities. So quality is coming. Quality has been increased in its academic activities by way of a large number of research activities is going on in all of the institutions, and by means of research only one will be able to produce new things or new ideas or creative ideas. Without research, an institution will not be having an existence. Then the accreditation criteria provide guidelines to the institutions for achieving quality and excellence, and in fact define the profile of an institution of an excellence. By means of this accreditation, all the institutions in our country are going towards an atmosphere of excellence. For example, since the criteria demand that every institution should have vision and goals, industry-institute interaction, R&D, etc., every institution strives to incorporate these in their portfolios, plans, and activities. All the institutions now, we can see that it has been quite different from that of the last decade or so. Every institution has got its own vision and mission. And especially in engineering institutions, there will be an industry-institute interactions going on. Likewise, the institutions are striving for institutions of excellence because of this accreditation system in the country. A healthy competition is evolving among the institutions which share best practices and seek to emulate best institutions. It's a part of the accreditation that what will be the best practices which each of the institutions following. That also has got grades, etc. So the institutions are developing or practicing best practices. Then the public funding agencies, employees, and in fact, all the stakeholders have started to appreciate the role of accreditation in promoting quality assurance in technical and higher education. From now onwards, not from now onwards, from last 5 to 10 years onwards, now the institution counts, not the university or anything, the institution counts. That means because of this accreditation, what will be the vision, mission, and what will be the other things, the institution where you study, in which university, not in which university you studied, but in which institution you studied, because of this accreditation. Institutions are moving towards that of the excellence. Some institutions have already become excellent as far as the accreditation process are concerned. So the students wishes to study in those institutions of excellence. So that is why how the quality of the institutions are moving on because of this accreditation process. These are the things which I want to share, and I take this opportunity to thank everybody for their patience here. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for the very informative on introduction to outcome-based education. Participants, if you have any, you can ask. It's already 11:10 now. We'll be starting the inaugural session shortly. So participants, if you have any questions, you may ask quickly, or else you can also communicate to us through mail or chat box so that it will be answered. Okay, so sir, on behalf of all present here today, once again, thank you very much, sir, for your highly informative session. Thank you, sir. And participants, please listen. You can take a short break. By 11:20, we should join back because the NBA member secretary, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, will be joining us for the inaugural session from his Delhi office. So please ensure that you join back in time. 11:20 sharp, we will join back. We'll have a short break for 10 minutes.
A warm good morning to one and all present here. Let us begin this meeting with a short silent prayer by seeking the blessings of the Almighty. Thank you all. Myself, Dr. Purnima S., Assistant Professor from the Department of Applied Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, will be the moderator for this inaugural session. Respected Director, Reverend Father Dr. Jose Kuriadat CMI, Principal Dr. P.S. Srijit, the Chief Guest for today, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, Member Secretary NBA, dear faculty colleagues and all participants. On behalf of the organizers, that is the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, and the Department of Mechanical Engineering, RSET, and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this inaugural session of the AICT-sponsored 6-day short-term training program on outcome-based education for technical institutions, Phase 3, Outcome-based Education and Accreditation. This Phase 3 is the third and the final phase of the STTP series on outcome-based education. Over the course of this 6 days, the participants will get an opportunity to learn from experts on relevant topics such as teaching, tools and resources for creating learning resources, outcome-based curriculum development and implementation, ABET accreditation, an IQAC case study, and much more. I wish all the participants a great learning experience. Let me now invite Ms. Lisa Annie Joseph, IQAC Secretary, RSET, for the welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Purnima. Respected Chief Guest of the day, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, Member Secretary, NBA, Reverend Father Dr. Jose Kuriadat, CMI, Director, RSET, Dr. P.S. Srijit, Principal, RSET, dear participants, fellow team members of the STTP, and my dear colleagues. A warm good morning to one and all. Welcome to the third phase of the short-term training program on outcome-based education for technical institutions, jointly organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell and the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology. Recalling the first phase, emphasis was laid on the application of taxonomy for knowledge, skill and attitude, and curriculum development. Course outcome development, attainment, and continuous improvement were also discussed at length. In the second phase, the STTP on outcome-based education and autonomy, emphasis was given to curriculum design with OBE context and assessment tools. Sessions also highlighted on topics like challenges in implementing OBE, course design, and design of laboratory courses. And this phase, the third one, the STTP on outcome-based education and accreditation, is going to highlight on teaching, tools and resources for creating learning resources, NIRF ranking, designing quality course outcomes, and noteworthy sessions on rubrics, mentoring, and the role of IQAC in technical education are also the highlights in the third phase. We are indeed privileged to have all these sessions handled by eminent personalities from across the nation. Now on to my duty. Let me at the outset welcome our chief guest, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, Member Secretary, National Board of Accreditation, to the inaugural session. A hearty welcome to you, sir. I take this opportunity to welcome our respected Director, Father Dr. Jose Kuriadat, CMI, to the gathering. A wholehearted welcome to our beloved Principal, Dr. P.S. Srijit, to the inaugural session. I also cordially welcome all the participants who have been enthusiastically participating in the previous two STTPs. And a warm welcome, dear faculty colleagues of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, Kochi. Before I wind up, I wish you all a fruitful learning through the next 6 days. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me now invite our beloved director, Reverend Father Dr. Jose Kurieri, for addressing the audience.
Respected Chief Guest, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, the Member Secretary of National Board of Accreditation, respected Professor Dr. Srijit, our Principal of RSET, the members of the Organizing Committee, the resource persons, and the participants of the third program of outcome-based education. A cordial welcome to all of you on my personal behalf. I'm really happy to be present at the inauguration of the third installment of this short-term training program on outcome-based education, jointly organized by IQAC of this college and the Department of Mechanical Engineering with the sponsorship of AICT. To get an opportunity to organize a program on OBE for the third time itself is a recognition of the efficient and effective manner this was held earlier by our faculty. So my sincere appreciation and congratulations to our dear teachers who are cooperating with the AICT and other agencies to equip and update the teachers of engineering in our country according to the modern vision of professional education. I see that this third session deals with some very important aspects of outcome-based education like philosophy of OBE, curriculum development and its implementation, academic audit, and so on. As we have eminent speakers for the input sessions from around the country, starting with the inaugural address by Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, I'm very happy that we have already organized this program with great pain and it will be a success. I'm sure this STTP also will be as effective as or even more so than the previous programs. With this third program, the teachers will definitely get a comprehensive grasp of the OBE, I hope. Let me share with you a question that arose in my mind when I saw the phrase OBE philosophy. In outcome-based education, we talk a great deal about setting goals and developing competence or ability to achieve these goals. And these goals are considered to be measurable. In this scenario, where do we visualize the possibility of unexpected blossoming or bursting out of creativity, discovery out of the infinite potential of human personality and human mind? Where is the chance of a eureka and an Archimedes-style leap? I think the OBE specialists will be able to answer my question. I myself do not know the answers to these questions. As I have already mentioned in the previous sessions, RSET has always been in the forefront of giving great importance to excellence in education, which in other words means quality education that tries to critically understand and disseminate the innovations in all fields of knowledge. That is the unique characteristic of not only RSET, but all Rajagiri institutions which are owned and run by the organization of Catholic priests known as the Congregation of Carmelites of Mary Immaculate. Having inherited a legacy of creative endeavor from our founders to spread the light of knowledge in the society and to empower the minds of the people with this light, the CMI educational institutions continue to take innovative steps in all fields of education and give our humble leadership in helping this educational process and also the society to get transformed continuously as it moves on. So I consider this program yet another small effort in this direction. Thank you for inviting me to be present at this inauguration and extending my best wishes and prayers. I remain. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father, for your kind words. We have an eminent personality with us today, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, Member Secretary, MBA, for inaugurating this program. It's a privilege for me to introduce Dr. Nasa to all of you. Dr. Nasa received the bachelor's degree in textile chemistry from the Technological Institute of Textiles, Bhiwani. He completed his master's degree in fiber science and technology and doctoral degree on the thesis titled Technical Education Systems, Accreditation Process and Improvements from IIT Delhi. He joined the Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India in 1990 and was working as Deputy Educational Advisor Technical before joining the National Board of Accreditation as Member Secretary. He has dealt with various important development schemes of technical education in the MHRD AICTE. He has contributed significantly in the planning, formulation, and implementation of various schemes of technical education. He has been associated with the approval and accreditation of technical institutions and programs at regional as well as national level in AICTE. He has many research papers in reputed national and international journals and conferences to his credit. It's a great privilege and honor to have you with us, sir, today. Let me welcome you on behalf of RSET and all the participants today for inaugurating the program and delivering the inaugural address. Hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you, Purnima, and thank you for that nice introduction. First of all, I would like to congratulate the RSE team for organizing such a workshop, and in collaboration with AICTE, this is a part of the sponsored project of AICTE. I heartily congratulate the entire team of RSET for taking such an initiative. I'm thankful to Father Honorable Dr. Jos Priyat CMI, Director RSET, and Dr. P.S. Sirijan, Principal RSET, and Ms. Lisa, Secretary IQSE, RSET. I'm thankful and really welcome to this awareness workshop, the short-term training program on OBE. And I also welcome the participants who are attending this webinar. I'm really thankful to them for being a part of such an initiative which has been given due importance in national policy on education, which has been announced very recently in 2020. And OBE is one of the factors which is going to play a major role in the coming years. And it is the right time to make the faculty and all the stakeholders, including students and the management, about the awareness of outcome-based accreditation. And I'm happy to note today that this is the third edition of such program. You had already covered the course outcomes and program outcomes attainment and rubrics, and you will be dealing with this subject in this session for 1 year in this set third edition of the 1 week. And the most important aspect of it is the delivery mechanism and the teaching and the delivery of the syllabus and designing the syllabus based on the OBE. I hope the experts, the panelists of this complete 7-day workshop, they will deliver this concept of OBE, the attainment of course outcomes and program outcomes in a detailed manner, because 1 week is sufficient time to go through it. It is not rocket science technology that the faculty is afraid of, whatever the feedback we receive from various quarters of the country, that they're afraid of, they're not accustomed to the OBE type of education, we have been conducting various workshops across the nation, and one such workshop was held in Kerala also. That was way back maybe 3 years before. It was in College of Engineering Trivandrum, and now we are in webinar also. We have been conducting such workshops in various parts of the country. Recently, we had 6 workshops in 6 states, and we'll be happy to have such workshop in Kerala also. We'll be in touch with the state government and the Kerala Technical University, which is the affiliating university for that. Most important emphasis which has been given in NPE is the accreditation, and that will be the basic principles of regulators for maintaining the quality, for maintaining the quality of the technical education in the country. And there will be, this is the second grid which has been proposed in the NPE, and happy to inform that the importance, much importance has been given on accreditation in this, and NBA is going to play a major role, but it will be in collaboration with all the state governments, all the state universities. We are always here to help you. We are there as a facilitator, not as a regulator or an inspector or something like that. So you should not hear about those. NBA, since its beginning, once it started in '94, we started with input-based parameters and with little reference to outcome-based, output-based parameters. But in 2004, it was again shifted from input-output to output-input-based parameters. But in the year 2010, we started implementing the outcome-based accreditation based on the advice given by the Washington Accord Secretariat mentors, which NBA became permanent signatory of the Washington Accord. And according to that accord, only the tier 1 institutions will qualifications which are accredited by NBA, the programs which are accredited by NBA will be treated at par. I'll request all the institutions also to really go for autonomy, which has been given again more emphasis on the in the NEP the 2020 document. More institutions have to come in tier 1 category, and they have to go for autonomy. For that, accreditation will be a key factor. So in a nutshell, everywhere, whether it's an NEP or the quality education, accreditation is going to play a major role, and NBA is committed to provide the credible and transparent system of accreditation. It is completely transparent. All our rules and procedures, they are listed on our website. Even the presentations which were made in the workshops, they are also available on our website. I'll request all the faculty members to kindly go through that also. And if there are any clarifications, they can come back to us also. Accreditation, as we have told, for us, it is a process of quality assurance and improvement, whereby in a program in an approved institution, it's critically appraised to verify the program continues to meet and exceeds the norms and standards prescribed by the regulator from time to time. So it is such a kind of a recognition that indicates that the program fulfills the desired standards. It should not be seen as a seal of approval, but it should be seen as a process of the continuous improvement. If you start implementing OBE and start improving on a continuous basis, accreditation will come, will come automatically. So I really congratulate RSE team for taking such an initiative, and I'll urge all the faculty members that they should be made available, aware about the outcome-based accreditation, and start implementing OBE. If you have any issues, you can consult our mentors, our visiting team experts. They are experts in the OBE, and you have also a panel of experts which will be delivering the talks on OBE in the coming week. So my request is, I know there are some resistance whenever the changes are there in any system, and this is we have an example of business process review. Whenever you change some process, there is definitely resistance by various stakeholders. So I will urge again the faculty of various institutions, those who are attending this, there should be no resistance, but we have to change our mindset that we have to, in a way, adopt OBE and make the system as a continuous improvement. And with these remarks, I will congratulate RSET and the entire team for taking such an initiative. We have also taken various initiatives about the accreditation so that the institution, most of the institutions get benefited. Or as we are all aware about the COVID-19 situation in the country, our visits are not happening as of now. These are closed since 1st of March. We are trying to have a prototype of a visit maybe in the last week of December on a blended mode that will be online plus 1 or 2 members from the nearby motorable distance experts which are available in our pool. So we are trying a pilot's visit. If that's gets through, we'll definitely start our visits in the coming time. And another thing that we have taken some steps is the faculty student ratio has been changed from 1:15 to 1:20 for getting accreditation for 6 years. This is in order to get the benefit for the institute, give the benefit to the institution for getting accreditation for 6 years. Another thing is the admissions at the institutional level has been removed for accreditation for 3 years. Earlier, there was a condition that the institution should get at least 50% for tier 2 institutions and 60% for tier 1 institutions at the institutional level. There, the branches which are very much in demand, they were getting suffered because, for example, computer science, electronics, IT, etc. are on much demand. There, the admissions were full, while the other branches, they were not in that demand and admissions were below 50%. The average gets down to 50%, and the programs which were receiving good attention were also not being accredited. Keeping that in view, we had removed our admission criteria for institutional level, but for the program level also, we will be considering the admission percentage at the second year level, which will be the intake at the first year plus the lateral the students admitted under the lateral entry scheme. And the percentage remains the same for tier 1 is 60% and tier 2 it is 50%. So in a way, we want more and more institutions, we want to give encouragement to more and more institutions to come forward for accreditation, but it is for the institutions definitely to adopt OBE and come to us for accreditation. We are trying to mentor them. We want to give any assistance in any form. We want to conduct so many workshops across the country, across the nation, across the states. Whenever you want, we will be able to conduct such workshops in helping the institutions. So I wish all the participants a great success and in the coming week, and hope everything will be clarified by the panelists or by the experts panel, which will be delivering talks on OBE, teaching mechanism, teaching methodology, and the designing of curricula, which are the requirement of OBE, because OBE is student centric learning and not what the teacher wants to teach. But the OBE is what the students will be able to perform and give their skills to the world once they are graduated. Keeping in view these demands, these graduate attributes, we have to design our curricula and teaching methodology in order to adopt OBE. The graduate attributes which have been given by the Washington Accord Secretariat, as we all know that the education system in India is very complex, and on one hand we have IITs, and on another hand we have NITs, we have affiliated institutions, autonomous institutions, deemed universities, state private universities, state universities, and so on. And based on that, we decided that we will have a two-tier system. Tier 1 will be for autonomous and Tier 2 will be for non-autonomous institutions. And in order to give encouragement to the institutions, we want everyone to come under Tier 1, which has been given again more emphasis in NPE, so that your students which are graduating from your program, they are treated at par across the member countries of the Washington Accord, which are 22 in number, and they're all mostly developed countries in the world. So I congratulate you, and once again, thanks the entire team of RSET and the participants also, and wish them a good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and inaugurating this program today. And thank you for your encouraging words and your valuable suggestions. Thank you, sir. Now, may I please call upon our beloved principal, Dr. P.S. Srijit, to address the audience. Please, sir.
Good morning. Respected Chief Guest of the Day, Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, Member Secretary of National Board of Accreditation, respected Director of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, Reverend Father Dr. Jose Kuriyadat, CMI, Dr. Manoj G. Tarian, Head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Ms. Lisa Annie Joseph, IQSC Secretary, Srimati Purnima, Moderator for this program, dear faculty members of RSET, and dear participants. At the outset, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa for inaugurating the third phase of the short-term program on outcome-based education and accreditation. And I again thank him for his wonderful speech and also the new information which he has provided to us. I also take this opportunity to congratulate the IQSC wing of RSET and the Department of Mechanical Engineering for arranging such a wonderful short-term course on outcome-based education and accreditation. Accreditation is an important part as far as every institution is concerned. Without accreditation, no institution will be able to survive now. And as Professor Dr. Nasa has been taught, every institution will be requiring a Tier 1 accreditation process. Otherwise, it will be preventing the mobility of engineers to the signatory countries. And by means of accreditation, my feeling is that the quality of engineering education in the country is slowly coming up. And within a few years, we will be having highly qualified engineering graduates from that of the country, similar coming out from that of premier institutions like IITs and NITs. And once again, I take this opportunity to wish success to this engineering program, to this short-term program. I remain. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me now call upon Dr. Manoj G. Tarian, Head of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, to deliver the vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Chief Guest of the Day, Member Secretary Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa, respected Director Reverend Dr. Jose Kuriyadat, Principal Dr. P.S. Srijit, and dear participants. Today, we are all very fortunate to have NBA Member Secretary for inaugurating this AICTE-sponsored short-term training program on outcome-based education. Dr. Anil Kumar Nasa is having a highly busy schedule, playing a key role in implementing the philosophy of outcome-based education in the higher education of our country. And almost every single day, he has been addressing the teaching fraternity from different parts of the country. In spite of his busy schedule, he has been kind enough to accept our invitation and inaugurate this program. Sir, your inaugural message on the importance of outcome-based education in NPE and the latest updates on the accreditation procedure was highly inspiring and informative. On behalf of the management, faculty, and students of Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, and all the participants present here today in this short-term training program, I express my sincere gratitude, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Our beloved director, Reverend Dr. Jose Kuriedith, is a motivating force behind all our institutional activities which benefits the society. On behalf of all present here today, I thank you, Father, for your presence and the wonderful message you have given us. Thank you very much, Father. Our principal, Dr. P.S. Srijit, is a guiding force behind all our academic activities. On behalf of all present here today, thank you very much, sir. Once again, thank you all and wish you all highly fruitful sessions ahead. With these few words, I remain. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So with this, we have come to an end of the inaugural session. I thank all the dignitaries once again for gracing the occasion with your presence. Thank you so much. Now, dear participants, just an announcement for you. The next session will commence at 1:15 p.m. So kindly join on time. So the next session, afternoon session, will be at 1:15 p.m. Thank you all for joining. Thank you once again.